Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have a hell of a show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. So one of the biggest stories surrounding LeBron has been the All-Star Weekend, right? A lot of people have been talking about this. LeBron is not going to be a starter in the All-Star game for the first time in 21 seasons. People are weighing in on it. We even put up a poll yesterday because Mark Spears was saying something about Michael Jordan when Vince Carter gave up his spot for him in the All-Star game. And I said, and Vince has basically explained the reverence and respect that he had for Michael Jordan. That's the reason he did it. So I put up a poll, should an NBA player step up this year and give LeBron the starting position in the All-Star game? And about 90% of the people, I think we had about 6,000 votes. I could be wrong, 5,500, 6,000 votes. 90% of them said, hell no, hell no. Some people even wrote, hell no, hell no. Nobody, people shouldn't give up their seats there for LeBron. And we did a show yesterday, a live yesterday with the story, which is while LeBron didn't wasn't a starter, Stephen Curry was. And we also found out that Stephen Curry has the #1 selling jersey in the NBA last year. The #1 selling jersey, Stephen Curry, right? That says a lot about the popularity of Steph in the LeBron James era, right? That really speaks volumes. Anyway, so this morning I was going through the internet looking for what to talk about, and I came across an article here from fadeawayworld.net with the following headline, and it says, LeBron James gets honest on potentially not being an all-star in 2026. I said, oh, word? So LeBron James himself is talking about this? I said, we got to talk about this. But before we get into this article, today's video is brought to you by a sponsor, PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports with over 10 million members. PrizePicks makes it easy to get real money action on the sports and players you love. You pick more or less on at least 2 for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. For example, this week I'm really looking forward to some of these upcoming games. This week I'm picking Stephen Curry for more than 29 points. I'm picking Kevin Durant for more than 27 points. I'm picking Giannis Antetokounmpo for more than 12 rebounds, and I'm picking Luka Doncic for more than 8 assists. If you're like me and you like to play it safe, you'll love PrizePicks' new feature, Flex Plays. It's the safest way to play. You can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. Plus, you can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. On top of this, PrizePicks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money as quick as in 15 minutes. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. All right, cool. So let's talk about it. It says Los Angeles Lakers superstar LeBron James saw one incredible streak of his end on Monday, and he wasn't named an all-star starter for the 2026 All-Star game. James has been voted a starter for a record 21 years in a row, and his media session after Tuesday's 115-107 win over the Denver Nuggets at Ball Arena, he was asked if he had any reaction to missing out on a spot. No, not at all, James said. James can still make it as a reserve, of course. The coaches will be voting for that, and the results will be announced February 1st. James asked if he'd like to be a part of the game at the Intuit Dome via that route, and he had a bit of an interesting response. I'm always grateful for sure, James stated. If I'm there, I'll be there in attendance. If I'm not, I know I'll be able to take full advantage of it. I know exactly what I'll be doing, so I'm good either way, right? What are my thoughts on LeBron's comments here, man? I think LeBron is saying, I don't care, man. I think people are putting a bigger emphasis on the All-Star game than LeBron James is. I think people think it's this big thing. I don't think LeBron cares about the All-Star game. People are acting like as if LeBron was like going hard in the paint in these All-Star games over the last 3 years. Ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you, 2 out of the last 3 All-Star games were the worst rated All-Star games in the history of basketball. LeBron was there. What happened at last year's All-Star weekend? What happened? LeBron showed up on Sunday And when he was speaking to the media during his interviews, he then let the entire NBA world know that he wasn't going to play in the All-Star game. That's when everyone found out, including NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. He found out then and there. He announced it then and there. He didn't even give him a heads up so they could go out there and try to make provisions to have someone replace him, like a Norman Powell or whoever else was eligible to be an All-Star that year. He just said, screw it. Right? He just said, screw it. So I feel like people are making more of a big... I don't think he cares about the All-Star game. To be quite frank with it, I think maybe he cares about it in terms of having All-Star selection on his resume. But in terms of starting, even if LeBron started, y'all think he's going to put forth an effort? Honestly. Y'all think LeBron is going to go out there and put on a showcase? Of course not. Of course he wasn't. He was going to go through the motions like he does every single year. So people making this big deal out of, oh man, LeBron, he doesn't care. And I think what happened is the NBA fans kind of figured out like, well, if he doesn't care, why should we care? He's made it abundantly clear about his play and his behavior the last 2-3 years that he doesn't care. He doesn't care at all. I'll also say this, though. I do think he's a bit surprised at the fact he wasn't voted a starter. I'm surprised by it, given the fact of how much he's talked about, right? You have people that go around saying, man, you wouldn't have a YouTube channel. People are not going to have YouTube channels when he retires. And it turns out that Stephen Curry is the most popular player in the NBA. These are the facts. Stephen Curry is the most popular NBA player. I did the count yesterday. LeBron has about 200 million followers on Instagram and Twitter. Stephen Curry has about 70 million across both accounts. But you see more people buying Stephen Curry jerseys. And you see more people voting for him to be an All-Star game. And it's not like it's an age thing. Stephen Curry's 37 years old, and he's being voted as a starter for bloody's sake, for Pete's sake. As a starter. Now, some people say, well, LeBron has been voted, led the league in jersey sales so many times. Yeah, because he's also changed. LeBron has 3 jerseys, man. So whenever you change teams, you're going to see a spike in jersey sales. That's why you saw Luka Doncic had one of the highest selling jerseys last year, because he became a Laker. What was his numbers in terms of jersey sales prior to him joining the Lakers? Right? But then this year, Stephen Curry ran away with it, which is, I think LeBron not making a team and Stephen Curry making a team as a starter is just as big as a story. Steph is a star. He's a starter. A starter. So what that says to me about their audiences are Steph probably has more organic fans. Maybe those numbers that you're looking at, those 200 million are all inflated numbers, and then maybe they're not real. Maybe cosmetically it looks appealing to see 200 million or 147 or 154 million followers. But in reality, how many of these people are engaging? Steph certainly seems to have a lot of engagement from his supporters for the fact that they voted him as a starter. And LeBron is saying, man, look, if I don't make the All-Star game, I'm going to be resting. Right? If I'm not making the All-Star game, I'll be resting. If I'm there, he'll show up, but he's not going to play. Right? And someone brought up a good point about Vince Carter giving up his spot for Jordan's, because Jordan had made it clear that was his last year. I think if LeBron had made it clear that this was his last year, maybe an All-Star would step up and do that. But he still has to be voted as an All-Star by the coaches. And I was listening to some sound yesterday. I think it was from Eddie TV, or I forgot the channel, where Tracy McGrady said he doesn't believe LeBron's an All-Star this year. So we have to wait. And now if he doesn't make the All-Star game at all, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts in the comment section. We catch you guys on the next show. Peace.